I got it in my guys' room, my media room, and we use it all the time. I mean, anytime I'm eating pasta, I'm having a Coke. So
I'm like a 3 dog a day guy. So if we're here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm like looking at 10, probably 9 or 10. I mean, you know when you drive by a Krispy Kreme and the light's on, and like a Krispy Kreme donut that's hot, like the calories don't really count, they just go down. Like that's what a dog that's hot right from the hot dog stand tastes like. This goes down like the calories don't even count for a hot dog here in Martinsville. They just don't.
Definitely a different perspective up there, and it's really hard to see something and put it into words really, really quickly, especially when they're wrecking. There's a few times I was just like, oh, you're past it already, so it's over. But
I was excited to do it, but I warned him that it was about a decade since I did it last time, and my driver wrecked.
But a lot of it's mental, so just knowing going in, it's not a quick truck race, it's a long Coke 600, and it's a long Coke 600, and we'll be prepared when we get there.
Sorry about the
First time cameraman here.
I thought it was the tripod. I was like, oh, what just happened? What do you got? Well, what do you think? God.
Most of these guys I'm racing against have forgotten about more races than I've ever even raced. So I don't have any issues with those kind of timelines and stuff. I'm so far ahead of where I ever thought I would be in the sport, and definitely competitively driving at this level and being able to compete with some of my heroes, and some of them I still regard as my heroes, even though they might not actually like me too much. I still look up to them, and I still view them as these guys that I just watched, and I still watch, and I study them now. So no, I don't get too caught up in that, and I just wake up every day and try to be the best race car driver I can be. So what's great is Trackhouse and Chevrolet lets me do that and lets me, kind of do it my way.
Which, I mean, as soon as they rolled out there, it should have just dropped the green and gone. The track was more than damp enough. I don't know. Like, the track was good. They should have just went. That's what rain tires are for.
We will always hyper-focus on not being the weak link for the team, so I think really you get the best out of your drivers when sometimes they face adversity, especially physically.
What kind of an impact did it have, if any, not having Chase in the field these last few weeks, and what does it mean for the sport to have the most popular driver back in the scene?
Well, certainly you're going to have someone that can contend for a race win each and every week back in the field now, so it's going to be harder to win, harder to get top fives, top threes, all that. So I think that certainly the sport has been waiting for this moment, right? And certainly, hopefully, we get the audience tuned in to, that the most popular driver's back in the field, because it certainly is important to have someone that, is super important to our fan base back on the racetrack.
This week you've been calling out drivers throughout the year in the podcast. This week you called out your buddy, Kyle Larson. What was his reaction to that? Did he hear the clip?
Oh, I'm sure he did for sure. But I mean, I'm gonna do them all equally. It's, whether you're friends or not, I always will treat everyone the same as well as myself. I mean, there's been there's 2 or 3 times this year I've been pretty hard on myself as well. So I just think that's what people tune in for, right? Is an honest opinion. It doesn't mean it's always fact, but it's certainly an opinion.
Last night you put a tweet out about Carson Hocevar's move that got him parked for 2 laps in last night's truck race. Did you feel that was more egregious than what you were penalized for?
Well, it certainly is more egregious, but it's just that at least NASCAR did something. I think that he's really been pushing the edge for a while with kind of intentional cautions and right rear hooking guys, and so this was a start, but certainly that was a pretty egregious move that shouldn't be in our sport.
So does 2 laps take care of it? Does it not need to have anything?
I don't know if certainly it will. It's a start. Yeah, so it's a start. It's been nothing for a long time, but certainly it got their attention.
But would you hope that it's not something that NASCAR goes further with in terms of intentional wrecks?
I think intentional wrecks warrant 25 points and $50,000. That's what the precedent is.
We got forward a couple of weeks to both the All-Star race and the Coke 600. So the All-Star race coming back to North Wilkesboro. What are your thoughts on that, going back to that historic venue?
Yeah, I love it. I never got to race there. I was probably 6-7 years behind on being able to actually do it. I won the I race there, which was awesome, but I'm going to love it. That is going to be my type of racetrack where tire conservation is going to be huge. And I'm just, all the excitement around it. I know all the construction that's going on there. It certainly will have a great short track feel.
I asked Tyler after the tire test if he thought you guys were jealous that you didn't get to do the tire test. Did you think about it that day?
I'm never jealous not doing tests.
Really?
No. I'll just look at the data and copy it.
I got to the Coke 600, some of the guys, and you've had plenty of years now to think about it, but some of the guys go, it's only halfway. We've got half a race to go at what would be the end of the Xfinity race. What about that race makes it special, but what about it makes it hard to use?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a long one, especially the cars have slowed down too. That's a factor in the race distance as well. These cars have had more cautions than what the previous cars did, so all that adds up to a 6 hour, 19-minute race that was last year. So, but that's part of the tough part of that race, right, is mentally keeping your focus for that long. But it's still, one of the biggest events, if not probably the second biggest. It's pretty close to Southern 500. It's a major in our sport, so we treat it that way.
Denny, you talked about the All-Star race. The format has kind of gone old school as well, and it's really going to give a chance for you guys to race and not have any kind of gimmick. Do you like that idea?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the format is.
It's split 100 laps, 100,
oh, okay.
100 and 100, and you only get one set of tires.
Love that.
In the second 100.
I think that's fantastic. They know they're playing to what that racetrack is good at, right? And that is passing, overtaking in the long run. Who's going to be the comers and goers? And so certainly, the simpler you can make it, the better it is. And I applaud that change.
After you win the 600, you get this cool ass Coke machine that the
Yes.
guy hand makes. Tell me a little bit about yours. How do you display it, and what do you think about that concept? It sort of matches up with the grandfather clock idea here.
Yeah. I got it in my guys' room, my media room, and we use it all the time. I mean, anytime I'm eating pasta, I'm having a Coke. So we use that machine pretty often. My kids have a little stash of dimes that, you have to feed it dimes to get the Coke, but they have a little stash. I think they might be sneaking some on the side.
Ryan, talking to some different spotters, and you had that chance last week to help Joey out in the truck race. What do you learn from an experience like that?
It's definitely a unique experience. When he asked me to do it about 3 weeks ago, I didn't really know what to say. I was excited to do it, but I warned him that it was about a decade since I did it last time, and my driver wrecked. Yeah, so last time I did it. And I wouldn't say it was my fault he wrecked, but it was a unique experience. I'd say the most unique part about it was kind of listening to the tower in one ear, listening to the team in the other ear, trying to kind of, not mess that up and not miss anything. NASCAR's saying if it's important, but Joey made it pretty easy on me. He led the whole thing, so that part was super easy. But yeah, that was fun. I froze my tail off up there, but at least that was pretty cool to go down to victory lane and kind of be on that other side. But yeah, it puts a whole new perspective on the job that those spotters do up there.
How important is it to have the right person in your ear?
I think it's really important. Me and Josh have been working together for a long time, and he's someone you get comfortable with and you kind of know and trust. And, the dirt race is one thing. If Joey asked me to do Talladega for him, I'd say no, because I'm just not experienced enough for that stuff. So really important, and luckily he trusted me enough to kind of keep his race in my hands a little bit. I mean, he's driving the car and he's making the decisions, but I can just kind of give him advice, and yeah, it's really important.
Would you want him to spot for you in a race?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'd say we could maybe trade it back. I don't know another race I'm doing that he could spot for me, but yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool, but my spotter days might be done. We're batting 1,000, so I might hang it up after that one.
So he is too when he spotted for Coleman last year.
Yeah, I guess it must be a trend or something between the trio of us, me, him, and Coleman. So yeah, it's working out pretty good. He hasn't spotted yet on the Cup side, so that's part we need to try to get him on.
Looking forward a few weeks, the All-Star race is coming up in North Wilkesboro. What do you think about that? I mean, your dad raced there, I'm sure, and you lean on him a little bit for some inside tips.
I think it's great. I'm happy it's back in the Carolinas. I ran a late model there in like 09, 10 maybe, with the past series, and it was weird. It was a random race place was shut down for a long time, and somehow Pass got it back open, and us running a race. And yeah, it was really neat. I don't remember much from it, but I think it's great. I think it's awesome that it's back in the Carolinas, like I said, and cool to bring a historic place like that back for a neat event as well.
Surprised at all that Chase was able to come back relatively quick from his injury.
No, he's wanting to race, and you know, he was itching to get back in. And obviously, you always want to get back doing what you love and what you enjoy doing. And so no, I'm not surprised at his time frame. Just I know he's worked really hard to try to get that thing stronger and better. So it'll be a true test this weekend, that's for sure. But if he didn't think he could do it, he wouldn't be here. So he definitely thinks he can do it and compete, and I'm sure he will.
What's it like for, as a good friend of his to be able just to see him back?
It's definitely nice to have him back at the racetrack every weekend.
Look ahead to the Coke 600 long race. When you get to about the 500-mile mark, you got to be kind of like, oh, there's 100 miles to go.
The first one, yeah. My first one, I only did trucks and Xfinity, and my first year, I think it was 2015, we might have done it with the Wood Brothers, and we got to mile 300, and that's an Xfinity race, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're halfway through this thing, and I don't know if I can make it. And it is wild, the first one, but then after that, you kind of know what you're getting in for, and it's going to be a long night. And but yeah, the first one, I told Cindric last year, I told Burton last year, I'm like, it's a long race. So I was like, you're going to think it's almost over, and you're not even halfway yet. So it's a very long night. You have to persevere through that one.
What is it about a spotter that helps you be good?
I think a spotter today has just changed a lot over the last few years. When you think about it, before, a spotter just told you you're inside or outside, and if there's a wreck, where to go. Now, that spotter's, or most of them, or at least mine for sure, is into every little detail of what's going on. He preps with me. He understands where I'm at with things, helps with the choose, helps with where other cars are out there, and he's got to really be a lot more educated than they used to be. So it becomes a critical role in a team.
We saw it last week with Ryan spotting for you, but when you spotted for him in that win at Hickory last year, what do you pick up on that? How cool an event was that? I
just had a blast. I mean, Coleman and I, we grew up together, so to see him out there racing, I knew how much he wanted to win. He had his kids there, and just to see him and his whole family celebrating was my favorite part, for sure. But definitely a different perspective up there, and it's really hard to see something and put it into words really, really quickly. Especially when they're wrecking. There's a few times I was just like, oh, you're past it already, so it's over. But it was tough.
Joe, does it make any sort of a difference when the sport's most popular driver is out for a few weeks, and obviously he's back this week, but does it make any sort of difference in the garage area not having him around?
I think no matter who it is, it has some kind of effect in the garage. You don't ever want to see any of your competitors hurt or not out there, but you think about our sport's kind of funky when you think about it, and it's like all sports. So like you're very relevant until you're not, and it's kind of crazy. You see drivers retire, right? And for the first half of the year, you're like, oh, he's not out there anymore. And then you get used to it and you move on, and life keeps going. And it's kind of sad that it's like that. But I think in Chase's case, obviously most popular driver, and only out for a few weeks, I think the whole sport felt the impact of that a little bit.
What does it mean to have him back this week then?
I think it's great to have him back. Yeah, it's great.
Joey, based off how it performed at Phoenix and Richmond, do you think you have better expectations of how this new short trip package is going to perform tomorrow than it did last year?
It can't be worse. I know that. I don't mean that in like a negative way, saying last year was horrible. I'm just saying directionally, this is the right way to go. Right? And is it completely fixed? I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. We saw last time Goodyear brought a tire that really rubbered up the racetrack, so we had that part figured out. But, when you look at, Richmond was a far better race than it was last year. And I would assume the same would happen here.
Joey, can you talk about next week at Talladega, how different of a race Talladega is, say, than Daytona?
It's quite a bit different for a few reasons. One being how wide the track is. Obviously, handling comes in a little bit less, but the way the pack works, it's really hard to – there's more lanes to block, right? Daytona's three lanes, 4 lanes pretty tight, so you don't really have to worry about 4 wide there. 4 wide's a pretty common thing at Talladega. It can happen pretty pretty comfortably. So definitely changes that.
When they brought everyone down and you switched, you initially put wet on, then you came down and put dry on. Do you think they should leave it the way it is, say, in IndyCar racing, where each team makes the decision to whether to go with wet or dry?
I mean, my thoughts are constantly evolving as we're learning, and I'm really happy that I was in the race last night to experience everything. And I think as we continue to evolve as an industry, we'll learn and just learn from last night. So yes, I think that we could open up the strategy. I think that sometimes we do have to protect ourselves from ourselves, and the adults in the room up in the tower need to keep us, their thumb on us a bit. But places like here where the rain was very light, let us do it. We do it on the road courses. Once you change one time, then you're allowed to change back whenever you want. Let us do that. They put us on wets to start. That's great. Then after that, let us go. That's kind of the safe bet. If there's any moisture, put us on wets and let us change back when we want to. So yeah.
We'll go to Jordan and then over to front stretch.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. I know you've been back here since last fall, but this is the first time in a competition setting. So what's it like coming back here since the Hail Melon?
Yeah, look, that Kubota I drove that day to lift the wall out handles a little different. The thing turned really good. It was articulating, so it worked really well. It's different. Look, that was a life-changing moment for myself and my team, everybody around me, and we'll continue to feel the benefits of that for years to come, and that doesn't take anything away from the competition, though, that we want to walk in here and do. This place has humbled me for over a decade through the Truck Series and Xfinity and Cup, so it continued to do that yesterday in the truck race and practice and qualifying. So as much as it's cool and awesome, and I know that we've got a piece of the wall that I don't think any other driver has ever been able to take a piece of the wall for good reason home. We've got that, but still, it doesn't help lap time and the feeling walking out of here last night that we definitely left a lot on the table with the 41 truck. So it's what's so great about this sport is every week you get to do it again, good or bad. And this place has been humbling to me. So it's a high on the priority list to make better lap time here.
I hate to mention it, but next week will be a year since your last Cup Series victory, but you've had a lot of success since then, a lot of second-place finishes, obviously almost won the championship. Does it feel like you haven't won a race in a year, or do you kind of get lost because you're still running well consistently week in and week out?
Gosh, I mean, most of these guys I'm racing against have forgotten about more races than I've ever even raced, so I don't have any issues with those kind of timelines and stuff. I'm so far ahead of where I ever thought I would be in the sport, and definitely competitively driving at this level and being able to compete with some of my heroes, and some of them I still regard as my heroes, even though they might not actually like me too much. I still look up to them, and I still view them as these guys that I just watched, and I still watch, and I study them now. So no, I don't get too caught up in that, and I just wake up every day and try to be the best race car driver I can be. So what's great is Trackhouse and Chevrolet lets me do that and lets me, kind of do it my way.
Did you see Carson's move last night that got him penalized in the Truck Series race? And then if you did, what were your thoughts on it?
No, I was too far back. So I saw a replay of it later, and I don't really have much to say on it. He served his penalty, and NASCAR called the penalty, so just kind of chalk it up to that.
All right, we have to let Ross go early, so we'll do one final question. Over to front stretch.
Michael Massey, front stretch. Along those lines of Carson Hosfar, it seems like you've kind of been like a mentor to him. And I saw you guys talking at the hauler last night. Like, do you have any advice for a guy like so they don't kind of lose their cool or get parked for 2 laps?
Yeah, I've done this a few years now, and a lot of that has been with Nice Motorsports. So I'm super loyal and super feel like family there, and so it does no matter who's driving there, we're going to be close, and we're going to get close because I'm going to be racing there. So I've gotten to know Carson and try to just give him advice for things I've done and mistakes I've made and good things I've done and decisions. And look, we're race car drivers driving to the limit. We're going to make mistakes, and we're going to just there's going to be so many decisions to make on and off the track that if I can just help guys younger than me just make one less mistake. He's going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes, and just try to minimize that. That's the ultimate goal.
And on a serious note, how would you assess your performance this season with the I guess, upgrading performance with your team? And you as a driver performing a lot better and stuff. So how would you overall summarize where you guys are at right now?
Give us a B currently. I feel like that's pretty accurate. We've missed it a couple weeks. Ran pretty good a couple weeks. I think just trying to even out, and it's a little bit different for me to race. I had a talk with Kevin Harvey for a little while this week of just now how you attack a race throughout the course of the day. When your car's fast, you don't have to race like every lap your life depends on it. You don't have to race as quite as desperate. So the speed that Spire Motorsports has given me in our cars this year allows me to kind of turn the knob up and down of what my aggression and just situational awareness looks like.
Are you more confident with Talladega coming up with your super speedway program?
I mean, it's I'm always confident going in there. I think we can just continue to execute. And Talladega, of all the super speedways, whether it be Atlanta or Daytona, it's hardest. I think it's the hardest to get track position, so you have to fight for track position to drop the rag.
For this weekend, what do you anticipate this the new aero package reacting to Martinsville?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good race overall. I think that the weather's going to be good to lay some rubber down, and you're going to see some guys roll the curb. You're going to see some guys kind of roll up and diamond it, and you're going to see some guys struggling to get in the corners. I think that the shifting doesn't help a place like this, but I think taking some downforce off is the right direction.
Corey, how realistic is the playoffs for this team?
As realistic as it's ever been, I think. We've always needed to be a Hail Mary type win at a speedway to find your way into the playoffs, but I think realistically, there's nobody behind us in points. You can look at a couple guys, but there's not more than two or three guys that run consistently better than us behind us in points. And I think there's a couple people in front of us that after we string a couple of decent races together, I think that we could actually be in front of in points. I think that the moment we're a 17th to 20th place team on overall speed and execution. So if we can keep that, then you start running top 15, then you start running top 10. But our ways how we get in the playoffs is certainly through winning a speedway race, I believe.
How would you explain what's the difference this year with this team so far from last year? What goes into the performance difference and the speed difference?
Yeah, there's not one thing. There's not a magic pill, but it's just my teams can continue to get stronger. We got a lot of great guys working a lot of long hours, trying to build our cars for the additional information that we're getting from GM and some other partners. Applying what we learn it has certainly been an advantage and an upgrade. So it's easy to execute days when your cars have some general speed in it. So our cars have some better speed. I'm getting some more confidence. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg. You got to have confidence to run good, but you also have to have fast cars to gain confidence. And we're starting to keep moving forward, and I'm happy with where we're at right now. We're continuing to get better.
It's just been a process building, starting from foundation, building all that up. It takes time, but certainly it's been great to see the runs that we've had, and we're still learning and trying to continue to build, just on the basic stuff right now. So, yeah, I don't know where the ceiling is, but we're certainly, with everything that went on the first couple of races, off to a much, better start this year than it probably looked like it was going to be a few weeks in.
And aside from just being a teammate, but rather also a friend, how have you encouraged Bubba, in the recent weeks with his frustrations that he's had and stuff, just being there for him? How have you approached those situations as a teammate and one of his friends?
Yeah, for sure. It's it's something I've been through. When things aren't going good, it's definitely difficult. So we're all just trying to do everything we can to help him along the way. But ultimately, it's something that it's on his shoulders, kind of pull himself out of. But I think this weekend is a great opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if any week is a week in the right direction for him at this point.
Did you watch the truck race last night?
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on the whole rain tire situation?
I mean, as soon as they rolled out there, it should have just dropped the green and gone. The track was more than damp enough. I don't know. Like, the track was good. They should have just went. That's what rain tires are for.
Did you talk to any of the drivers that raced in that last night?
No, I did a test here last summer where they wet the track down, had us go out there and run on it. So I'm sure there was a lot of knowns on their end, but like for sure, it's pretty surprising how much grip and pace the cars do have around here in the rain with wet tires.
So your team should have kept going, kind of thing, I guess.
I mean, there's a fine line. Like, if there's a lot of water on the track, it's not really the handling of the car that's the issue. It's the visibility. Even here, we tested here last summer. They watered the track down a good bit, and it was just 3 cars, and third car in line couldn't see anything. So it's more of a visibility thing than anything. So maybe that's what they were trying to make sure they were good on. That the visibility wasn't going to be a problem, and it certainly wasn't.
And sims have been kind of like the big talk for the last few years about preparing for these races and things like that. So how do you prepare for rain races or damp races or whatever it might be, since sims might not have the data to fully simulate something like that?
Yeah, running in the rain's a lot of fun, but it's a whole new challenge when you're trying to race in the rain. And, it ultimately just comes down to visibility not being great. And, I think for the racing that we try to put on, I don't know if rain racing is going to be a great battle or show for the fans, because pretty much first and second car can kind of see what's going on. No one else can.
Look forward to the Coke 600. It's a long race. Some guys say they get to that 300-mile mark and go, oh my God, it's only halfway. How do you approach something like that? And have you had any of those moments early in your career?
No. It's honestly, every time I've done that race, it's really flown by. For me, it hasn't really felt like a long race ever, but it's I guess just kind of a product of having smooth races and staying out of trouble most of the race and most of the night. Yeah, so for me, it flies by, honestly. The way the stages are broken up and everything, it kind of moves by pretty quick in the driver's seat.
Looking back at the tire test from Multiple Pro, having some time to reflect on that, we asked you that day what you thought about it. Do you start to get ramped up and go, all right, this is the real deal and we're really going to do this? What do you think?
I'm excited about it for sure. Ultimately, I don't know what the racing's going to look like, but it's definitely going to be fun for me, and hopefully the fans enjoy it too.
Yeah, it feels good to walk in here, just walk across the track and turn 4 and just get to remember the good times, right? I've had a lot of bad times here. This track has been mean to me, I feel like, and we've taken some lumps. So it's good to have a really good memory like we have from the Hail Melon and what that afforded us to do, go fight for a championship. But we've also got some good memories here in the Truck Series, which we're here today for, to try to go for another win.
How special do you think it will be to kind of get behind that wheel, take that turn for the first time, kind of bringing back those memories?
Well, so I've already driven the turn once, but it was in a Kubota tractor, so it wasn't in a race car. But just getting in the race truck and going fast and focusing on a real lap, not a wall lap, is of utmost priority for me. And just writing new memories here that are not all about the wall. I want people to know me in Martinsville Speedway. It's going to be hard, but I personally want them to know me for winning races here, not just hitting the wall.
Yeah, I was just about to ask about that. Obviously, your name's kind of synonymous with this track, but to follow up what you did last year, coming out in victory lane, what would that mean to do what you did, get in the championship for, now be able to do it and come out with a win?
Yeah, just starting here with the truck race, it's just one lap at a time, one day at a time. So the Cup car will be here tomorrow and for Sunday's race, but today is all about the truck, and for everybody at Wex Racing and Nice Motorsports, this is priority right now. So I just get to put all that aside. When I pull on track, I'll never think about the wall. I'll just think about making the best lap time, practicing, getting a good balance on our truck, and then qualifying later today.
You worried about the weather at all? Any rain tires? Anything? Any thoughts on that?
I'm here for whatever they tell us to do. I mean, if they tell us we're going to race in the rain, great. If not, we'll wait. I'm only running 2 this weekend, so pretty light schedule.
Do you have any different approaches if it is raining and you're using those different tires, or is it kind of all one and the same to you?
No, it's different for sure, and I think it's never been done here other than some Cup cars, a couple guys at a tire test, but that was sprayed water on a track out of a water truck, not true rain like this, cloudy and cool. So although I did expect it to be a little cooler, I'm pleasantly surprised with how warm and muggy it feels right now, but yeah, I will go exploring. If it's raining and we have rain tires on, I will go exploring, and we will try to be the first one to explore the best parts of the track. It may be up by the wall, just not rubbing it.
I love that. I love that. And you're in this part of the region now for this race. Obviously, in a few weeks, we got North Wilkesboro coming up. What are your thoughts on that track? Coming back with NASCAR coming back to that track, and just the history behind it all.
Yeah, look, there's way more forgotten memories about North Wilkesboro than I've ever known about it. I've never raced there. I've only been there once to watch a tire test a few weeks ago for Carson Hocevar and Nice Motorsports to do the Chevrolet tire test. And I'm not sure. I'll be running the late model stock race Wednesday night, as well as the truck race on Saturday and the cup race, obviously, for the All-Star race. So I've got plenty of racing that I'm going to go to North Wilkesboro Summer School in and learn. But I don't know, and fortunately, most everybody I'm racing against never raced there either.
Had you been studying up on some of that long lost history at all?
Not so much the history, more just like watching old cars race on it. But the race cars are so different now, but there's still tendencies that I think will pay off from those races in the 90s and the 80s. That those guys were, the philosophies or how they were approaching the corner. And then the track has only sat there and aged, so it's old, and they did not repave it. So being adaptable as the track changes, and maybe parts of the sealer come up, and you can use different parts of the track throughout the weekend. We'll be staying on top of that. But yeah, I don't know anybody that even really raced back then. So it's just more about my teams and myself learning as we go.
To be a part of the group that brings that track back to life, what does that mean to you as a driver?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, I didn't really have a hand in it, but just getting to run 3 races there, from a late model to a truck to a cup car, is just life goals and just dreams I had. I would have just given anything to run a late model there a few years ago, and now to get to run all 3 is going to be really special. So I'm thankful for the group I have around me that's put me in these positions to race. And I've got a lot to learn. I'm not expecting to just go there and win, right? I'm going to learn and try to be the best version of myself.
Looking a little bit further ahead to the schedule of the Coke 600. I know we're taking it one race at a time. You got the short track now. You're going to one of the longest races in about a month. What are your thoughts on the Coke 600? Do you like the long races? Is it something that you kind of really have to mentally prepare for?
You do. I mean, I treat it different. It is an extra 100 miles. It's an extra bit of time in the car. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't do anything drastically different, but I do just prepare a little more. You just need a little more insulation and a little more bandwidth to get through that last little bit. And a lot of it's mental. So just knowing going in, it's not a quick truck race. It's a long Coke 600, and it's a long Coke 600, and we'll be prepared when we get there.
Sorry about
First time cameraman here.
I thought it was the tripod. I was like, oh, what just happened? What do you think, David?
I think that's good.
Got Smingles? Okay, cool. I want to make sure we got everything while we snag you. So.